Everybody, it's Russ from My Hammers 11. Hope you're all safe and well. If you're new to the channel, please consider subscribing and hitting the bell icon so you don't miss any random videos we put up, as well as our daily videos as well. As always, we'd like to thank our channel sponsors, Untuck It. Check them out in the description below. We've got another episode of In Russ We Crust. We've done scones, we've done pizzas, and now we're doing something a little bit more advanced, but it's actually quite simple if you just follow the process and follow the recipe. We're going to make some bagels. Proper chewy bagels, you know, so a bit like the not exactly the same as ones at Brick Lane, because I don't think you could ever possibly replicate them. But these are quite good. These are quite good, and they're chewy and they're nice. And again, you can flavour them as you want. So we're going to be doing other stuff. We'll do some simpler stuff as well, some breads and throughout the weeks, and sponge. My daughter wants to do sponge cake, so we'll do that as well. But we're doing some bagels. So here we go. And again, this takes a little bit of time, so it's good to do over a weekend, you know, when you've got a bit of an hour or so to kill. So here's our ingredients. We've got some flour, and again, all the actual measurements are in below. We've got some flour, we've got some yeast, we've got some sugar, some salt, and then some toppings. So I've just got some poppy seeds and some sesame seeds. Right, okay, so the first thing we have to do is a little bit different than what we'd usually do with the pizzas, is we're going to bloom the yeast. So we put some water, 100 mils of warm water, and we put about a tablespoon of the sugar, and then we put in the yeast. So we're going to leave this for about 10 minutes. The reason we leave it is to make sure it starts to feed off the sugars, and it starts that process going a little bit earlier than we normally would do, and also to make sure it's alive as well, the yeast, because obviously, you know, you might have a packet of yeast in the back. So and we'll see with this time lapse, so this is like 10 minutes, and you'll see what happens. You'll see like bubbles appear, and where it was sort of reasonably clear, it becomes a lot more cloudy, and it really does smell like a pub as well. So it's quite nice. So after 10 minutes, you'll see, look, it's got all this sort of cloudiness in there now. So that means it's all working and it's all fine and dandy. So then we're going to go to our favourite implement, our K mixer or stand mixer. And then what we do is we put in that liquid. So that's the 100 mils with the sugar with the yeast that's been bloomed. Then we're going to whack in another 200 mils of warm water, and I sort of rinse out the actual measuring jug with that. And then what I'm going to do is put about half, when I don't knock the camera, and put about half or so of the flour in. The reason being is we sort of have to feel our way about a little bit in terms of how it is. I've also put the salt in as well, and then I close it and start mixing. So basically, for unlike a pizza dough, which is a little bit sticky, for a bagel dough, you want it to be soft but not sticky at all. So the idea is we put half in, we mix it, we see how it feels. If it's still sticky, we'll put more in, that type of thing. So it's a slightly more involved process, but you do get an actual, you know, it ends up being really pucker. After we're happy with our mix, so it's about 10 minutes in, we're then going to scoop it up, so you can see it's not sticky, it just comes out in one hit. We can make it into a nice ball if you want to make it look pretty. And I've put it in a greased bowl, this lovely silver bowl, like my bowl. I do everything in this bowl. And then we're going to cover it with some cling film, and then make sure it's reasonably tight and airtight rather. Then I put a tea towel on it, and then we put it on a warm place and give it like an hour or so, or till it's doubled in size. So, you know, check on it, and if it's still sort of, you know, if it's getting there, if it's already up, you know, it might be 40 minutes or whatever, and it might be the right size. So you'll see here, I've just put it there. So that's all ready to go. After an hour, this is what it looks like. So it's, you know, it's more than doubled in size. So you can see I'm knocking it back again, so just pushing all the air back out of it. So that looks like a nicely risen dough for us. And then what I do is put a floured surface, put some flour on the side, pour it all out. So you see it's not sticky at all, it's just come out in one lump. And then I sort of roll it up a little bit, and I want to make this into 8. So I'm going to get a knife, or you could get like a pair of scissors maybe, and make it into 8 even size. I mean, to be honest, 8, this could probably be 10, to be honest, 10 slightly smaller bagels. To be fair, you can see some of them at the end. Some of mine are a little bit bigger, so maybe I should be a bit more, what's the word, a bit more sort of conservative in terms of how I size them. But yeah, it's literally a case of getting a knife out and just chopping it all up. A bit similar to how you did with the pizzas, to make sure they were similar. So I cut them through, and then they're all individually sort of cut out off. And then what I'll do is I'll put them under a tea towel to keep them from drying out, because we have to sort of shape each individual bagel. Boom. So there's my 8. Don't they look lovely? As I said, I'm going to cover them with a tea towel, and now I'm going to shape all of them individually. So you take one, you make it into a little ball, and then you can rip your fingers in, which is what I've done in, and make a big hole, like you would do in a bagel, or you maybe get a spoon and do the same thing with a wooden spoon. You want to make that hole about 3 centimeters, I'd say. And then you've got, as you can see, some of mine are somewhat irregular in size, but they've done the job. So I'm going to cover them because, again, I don't want them to all dry out while I do the next process. So this is a bit different. This is what makes bagels because we have to pre-boil them. So I've got a pot of boiling water, which I've added the rest of the sugar in. And I'm going to stir that up because it's going to be almost like a sugary glaze, basically. That's sort of what it's sort of boiling in. And this is what gives it this chewy texture, is the fact that it's boiled. And so what we do is we'll put 4 in. I think I'll probably get 4 in this one. And we're going to boil them for about 2 minutes each side. You'll see they puff up and they look nice. So I've done them in 2 batches. So 2 minutes each side, flip them over, do another 2 minutes. After that, you can see all the steam coming off. Now, obviously, they're still a bit damp, so you want them to dry them out a little bit. If you had a wire rack, put on a wire rack as well. And then what I'm going to do is just put my flavorings on top now while they're wet. Some people use egg glaze. That's fine. You can use that, but I just use this. I think it just does the job while it's still wet. So I'm going to put some poppy seeds in. Might put some sesame seeds, some smoked sea salt, something like that. And then once they're ready, I'm going to whack them in the oven. So obviously we put them in the oven for 25 minutes. And again, all the descriptions and all the temperatures and things like that are in here. And you'll see what happens is, look at them beauties when they've come out. Absolutely beautiful. And you could eat them straight away if you wanted to. God, you can crack straight on. Or you might want to let them cool for a little bit. They'll keep for a little while. And they'll be absolutely gorgeous. And there you go. There you go. If you've got a bit of salt beef, if you pick a few gherkins and some mustard, that's your weekend complete already, my friends. So hopefully you'll have a go at making some bagels or Beigels. You say tomato, I say tomato. I never really figured out why some people call them bagels, some people call them Beigels. Britt Lane calls them Beigels, isn't it? Bagel bake. So we'll go with Beigels for the time being, but I'll put bagels in the description because people search for both. I hope you enjoyed that. Give it a go and send me and tag me with any pictures of anything you bake, because it's lovely to see. I get loads of messages from people who sort of text me or DM me and say, "Oh, look what I've just made," and it's really, really sweet, because actually that's all about, helping out each other and doing something a bit different. So thank you, everyone. Appreciate your time. As always, like, share, subscribe. And from myself, because I'm on my own, take care, everyone. Stay safe. Wash those hands. Come in your irons, and see you again very, very soon. Take care, everyone. Much love.